So the way to look at technique for me is technique creates your ceiling of how fast you can possibly be ever in your life. So the better your technique, the more chances you have of getting as fast as you can possibly for you. I'll try to just this one. So win my division in 2 years or whatever your choice is. But you only train hard and you don't work on your efficiency, which is technique, you're only going to get so fast. You won't get the maximum out of your body. So the maximum that you're going to get out of your body, you have to be technically, to me, that's work perfect. There's not a lot of people out there with perfect technique. But if you can get close to it, at least for you, you got a chance to have speed. So some people think this rate's got to be high on the start, to get up and going. I think the secret to the speed of getting out of the hole is minimal air time. The more time your paddle's in the water, the more the boat's moving forward. We used to think, okay, kind of a half, then a 3/4, then go kind of to the full stroke, right? You get the boat up out of the water. So heavy, deep strokes get the canoe up. Once the canoe starts to move, you start to chase the stroke rate to the canoe. Right? The faster the boat gets going, the faster you try to get to the front to get the paddle in. Never want to go fast with the blade when the boat's not moving. I mean, efficiency is setting the blade, pulling yourself to that point, taking the paddle out. The difference between a high rate and a slow boat speed is like a car on the grass and the tires are spinning on the wet grass. So if you're using this quick thing on the start and you started from the very beginning and that canoe hasn't gotten up to speed, you have a spinning loop. But if you're deep and you get the canoe up, and it starts moving quick. And then there's this quicker into the water, quick into the water. I feel like once you're trying to get the boat speed up within, to me, 8 to 10 strokes to your travel pace. Those first 2 or 3 should be deep and getting the canoe up. And then you should be trying to not have too much air time, almost like you feel like this paddle's always in the water. And if a boat picks up speed, that paddle speed picks up because the boat speed is picking up, right? That time in the water comes back a little quicker because the boat's picking up speed. And once you get up to that speed, then you kind of set your pace and you try to maintain what you got at that point. My paddle stroke are a good paddle stroke. Well, the way I think of it is very simple. It's just this. It's just this. What do you notice? See this? This is not strong. This is weak. This is strong. Right? Technique is very simple. Set the blade in the front. Grab a lot of water. Hang on to it until you can get there. And then take it out. Everybody wants the magic. Reach out. Forward angle. 15 degrees. Turn to the right, twist your body, legs first, hips second, lats third, shoulders, arms, exit, look to the left, turn right, blah, blah, blah. Haitians, First Nation tribes that I work a lot with, they teach power, feel, and time. When I show up there, I have minimal things to fix. Because if you do these things, if you set the blade out in front of you and you lock the whole blade in the water and load it, most of the time, your body will do the right thing to be done. I think we confuse it. I think we teach our paddlers from a young age and novice mechanics before we teach feel or timing or power. Then the mechanics thing. You want to go fast? I say 3 things with technique. Where did you put the paddle in? How much water did you grab and how long did you do it? Efficiency and distance per stroke is enough. And distance per stroke is the secret to speed. Lock the blade. How far did you go on that stroke? It's simple. If I'm going to teach someone new at this point, this is what I'm going to do. Take the paddle, figure out where you're going to hold it. 90% of the people will get this part wrong. Where the blade ends, conventional paddles that is, hand goes here, give it about an inch, put your hand, you got a pretty good spot. You're up enough to get the whole blade in the water without having to reach too far down. And you're not close to yourself in this way to where it's too hard to pull the with. So right in here is kind of the magic spot. You can chase it down a little, you can come off a little. But if you get here, you're weak. And if you're down here, you can't get the blade. The only time you can get a solid catch or lock it in the water is when this whole paddle to here is deep. And it's not deep as you pull it. Because if you pull it and it's getting deep, you got cavitation. So what is cavitation? Cavitation is air. So what happens is when the paddle goes in and you don't sink it all the way and it doesn't come up to here all the way, you don't have solid water on both sides of the paddle. What happens is you start to sink it and you create an air pocket back here. And then all the water from the front of the face rushes itself around to fill that air pocket. And that is happening while the paddle is coming back to you. So that whole time until this spot fills itself, the paddle is moving and the canoe is moving less. Make sense? Now, if you get that whole paddle in the water here and you lock it to the point where it doesn't feel good, If it feels really bad and it hurts and you don't like it, you're doing it right. It's not supposed to be easy. So when you lock this whole thing here, and then you start to pull, the key is how do I lock the blade where my point is for me at the best reach I can have, which is a whole nother story that we'll talk about. Once you lock it there, you're putting maximum pressure on that blade until your body gets to the point you put it. You pull the canoe to your blade, you don't pull the blade to see fish. Now, where's the catch for somebody? It's really hard to say. Depends on the pattern. Right? If you want to learn what that feeling feels like, don't reach too far. What does everybody tell you at practice?
4 inch.
And when does that work or look good? When there's a photo of you in the air. Look at how good my reach is. Then you go slow frame by frame on the video, and the blade goes from here to here, it's not deep, to here, it's not deep, to here, it's not deep, and it sinks about your knee. And you get a stroke about this long, and you take it out, and you go, you see my reach. Learn first where your reach is. And I think there's two ways you can figure this out. Because the thing with paddling is what you got to learn is it's feel. You can't see what you're doing. You can see your top hand, you can see something, right? If you can't see what your techniques are happening, where the blade is going, and you can kind of get an idea. But what happens is when you're here, you can't get a full blade, depending on the height of the canoe and what canoe you're in. Maybe the one man's a little bit longer. So take your paddle and your exit to me. Let's go over this simple technique, right? Simplify the technique. Take your hand where we're supposed to be. Take both hands, put it out in front of your body. Take this top hand, slide it over like this, and the bottom hand, the top hand, set it all the way in the water. Keep both hands completely straight. Try it. Elbow to torso, exit. Like this, like that, a little bit of rotation, set the blade in. Keep both straight, elbow to torso. That's a good technique. Top hand can bend a little. Bottom hand, I say, whenever you do this, whenever you keep the top hand extended, you're using your body. Big muscle.
How much pressure on your top hand?
Depending on the person. Pushers and pullers. If you're a pusher, like a lot of people are, I say pull 70, 80%. Push 20. The key with the top hand is push down and not forward. Down makes it hard. Forward makes it easy.
How much weight do you put in your foot, your front foot, your knee foot?
I don't even think about it. I don't even teach legs. Legs to me are one of the biggest mistakes. But I never use the word. I spent a lot of time working with Shell's coach Gerard. He's a good friend of mine. Another friend of mine, Teva from Paddling Connection. I've never heard Gerard say twist, hips, or legs in my life. Lock the blade. Your body will when it needs to go in place. It's a pressure on your feet. If someone's not using their legs whatsoever, I'll say try to use your legs. But if they start to use their legs and they use them too much, I say forget what I said, don't lose them. Data point who I work with, they're very fast because they're very quick technique and mindset. The two fastest women, the two strongest girls on the team, they had legs pushing. What the heck is this? People do this. What the paddle, they go like this. The kick's always done like this. So the leg is straight. You're not even halfway through the stroke. And then at the end, you're completely disconnected at the point. One, you screw up the boat because you rough it up. Two, you push your leg quick. It makes you try to pull down quick. So you usually slip. And three, the leg is already straight and you're still pulling at the end and you have no connection. When I tell them no legs, I see a half-mile-an-hour difference in the boat speed lower. I think it's I've never seen. You want to know how to use your legs? Put two 40-pound dumbbells next to you. You bend down like this and you grab them. And I want to see you do this. That is exactly what you're doing in the canoe. I don't say legs, I don't say, I want more reach. I never say reach farther. So put the paddle in 1 inch farther forward. And then people go, I twist, do I use my arms? Do I use my neck? No. You take it from here and you put it in there. Let your body do what it's supposed to do. You gotta get out of the way and stop screwing up with something.
You do like that? Not for almost everybody, right?
Okay, what? No. I always talk about the catch. The catch is, I'm not going to call it the most important part of the stroke, but it's the first part of the stroke. And if you don't get that right, you don't get a chance to work efficiently on the rest of it. So first thing you want to do is your catch drill if you have your noise on your blade. When you go in, you hear a swooshing or a cavitation, you need to work on your catch. If your stroke rate is high, you need to work on your catch. Unless you're coming out here, a nominal efficiency, if you have a high rate, you are inefficient. Paddling long and hard and strong and distance for stroke is taxing on your body. Heart rate can be very high and very low. You learn how to get a load on your blade, and then you learn how to hold that load for a really good amount of time with maximum pressure until the canoe gets there. You'll get boat speed, your heart rate, Go through the roof. 50 strokes a minute, you'll be up around 160. That means all the load is on the blade, all the larger body parts are working. Depends on how lazy you are. I'm a very lazy man. So I try to have maximum efficiency and travel per stroke on every time I'm paddling. So I can rest a really long time. It's fun. But the key and the secret is when the paddle comes out, you want to try to catch the boat speed and get the paddle in the water right before the boat speed drops. The whole idea is to catch it right before it falls. And that dictates your stroke. Length of stroke dictates your stroke rate. Stroke rate comes up for me when you lose air time, not when you change water time.
You know that, right?
Yeah, efficiency is not, bringing up the stroke rate is not slipping in the water and coming through the water quicker because you want to try to make it go faster. Efficiency is canoes moving still to that point, you're making to the distance, but you're coming on soon, you're getting to the front. If I'm going to go after a fall, right? Instead of just trying to muscle this thing hard, instead of trying to do this, quick like this through the water and slip, I'm just going to grab here, come out, before, grab it again. But it's a thing where you're quick forward, slow, quick forward, slow, quick forward, slow. When the rate comes up, you're going to lose a little of the front wall, but you try not to. But usually take it off the back. It's air time that's going away. That gets you winded, gets the load speed up quick. If you're doing it properly, you can't really do this for more than about 8 or 10 strokes if you're efficient. Because you're coming in, you're grabbing tons of water every time. That's guys, the really top end guys who understand all the efficiency, find a way to cheat so they can do things and it's easier. Because they're like, I'm going 9 miles an hour and this is getting hard and I'm going to slip it on purpose for about 10 or 12 strokes and then I'm going to come back and go hard. Most people are the opposite. Always trying to find how to make it. Remember, boat speed dictates stroke rate and air time dictates stroke rate. Go like this, you come over here and they rotate a little bit. This to me is kind of perfect rotation. Because at this point, I'm still powerful. If I go to here, I'm not. If I go to here, I am. I'll show you why. Come on. Really give me credit. So reach out. And just don't think, grab your paddle and reach out. Grab this. Just reach out for stroke or do whatever you normally do. Yeah, that's the fun. Okay, now so the right. Now take this and lean into my hand with all your might. Spread your body out. Forward all the way. Drop this down so that you feel no pressure. Now lean into it. You feel it? Yeah. You're powerful. Now put the pressure on, and as you put the pressure on, you start to twist like you did before. And tell me the other way. Tell me when you lose it. You lost it. I want that. It's how like fine you this. This is weak. This is strong. This is pressure down. Take this. Gotta work on relaxing. Right. So, and a good little drill for that is you take the paddle, you put it on a chair like this. Now, if you take care, you lean this lat onto here. Okay, now I have tons of weight and power on this, right? So I grab here, still have it. I haven't lost it, right? I can go, where is it? Oh, I lost it. I have it. That's my position. That is where I'm the most powerful, right when that paddle is in the water, because the whole body is connected. And now, if that's just right here, when you're on a one man and you're practicing and training, that is okay. Don't tell your coaches I said this. Don't ever say John said. Okay. If you learn it here and you learn how to put it in and you feel it, and that's heavy every time, and my lat's engaged and whatever it is, right? You'll understand what it feels like. When you understand what that feels like, then you can rough it. So every time, for me, I haven't very good catch because I worked 1 year working on it. It's all I worked on for a whole year. And at the end of that year, I could understroke almost everybody in the country. I couldn't beat them because I trained them harder than that. But efficiency-wise, anything I paddle today, I will have a You learn it, it's in the bank, it's yours. That's what as soon as I got now, when I go for any stroke I ever take, and I go to the front, I'm always looking for that feeling. Every time I take a stroke. What was that feeling that I want and where did I feel? And if I'm on a bump and I cheat and I chase and I get short, I say to myself, that was really bad time. But that's going to happen. So you find that feeling. So if you have to go here to learn it, fine, do it, learn it. And then you know what? 2 months later, how long does it take to create a habit? The latest thing I read, 66. When's your Get the tissues out prior to right? Because everybody looks at themselves and I do the same thing. Training is it's scientific. It's not just to go out, you pound, you hammer every day. If you want to peak, you gotta do cycles. That's the cycle. There's a 6-month plan. 4 months to me would be base level. Level 2, as you would call it. Break this level 2 you're working on technique, you're working on strength outside the boat, weights, cardio. During this time, you are working on, it's building your VO2 at the same time, that level. You want high mileage, so you're working technique, low intensity, lots of volume. And the mistake you don't want to make is when that paddle's in the water, it doesn't mean you're pulling it soft and level. It means you have tons of pressure on your blade at a low stroke rate, trying to stay in level. The mistake people make in training is, okay, it's level 2 cruise. It's having a nice day. Level 2 should be watching my stroke rate with my watch or whatever it is. I'm watching my boat speed in the flat, and I'm watching my heart rate. My heart rate is 130 at level 2. You're doing everything you can possible to go as fast as you possibly can at a low rate with lots of power, and not letting the heart rate climb over it. Most people, it's easy for them to stay in their zone. If you're doing this right, it's extremely difficult to stay in your zone. You're always pushing for this maximum efficiency, maximum power, maximum boat speed without going over your line. So you got 4 months of this, you're gaining technique, you're gaining VO2, you're gaining strength and endurance. And then I would start to bring in a little bit higher intensity, level 3s and 4s. The closer you get to the race, higher speed, more speed work you do. More speed work you do, the less you do of your movement. So training is, if you're doing a true training, like running, swimming, or running, paddling, movements, your zone 2 stuff is when you're getting strong. Because you're not taxing your body so much on the water that you can build strength off it. When the intensity comes up on the water, the weights have to come down on the tree. You can't tax your body. So you go from gaining strength, working on technique and endurance, and you bring up the intensity, and in the weight room, you try to maintain strength. So your level 2 is giving you VO2 base technique. At the same time, you're building all this strength. When we start building up your speed's going to come up, but your strength's going to come down. Because you can't keep doing that heavy stuff in the gym. Your body won't handle it. Because you try to do this, you're like, okay, more reps in the gym. Go to 15, go to 20. Maybe you're doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. How do I maintain my strength? At the same time, how do I gain my boat speed? When we work on higher boat speed, we start shortening the pieces, getting a little longer in the race. So say the guys that we train now, right? Like the whole group in running that Travis is, and Lindsay was all a part of. It was a lot of base, low intensity stuff. The morning workout might be, 10 times 5 minutes with 1 minute rest. I always use intervals because I feel like we're not there technically enough to concentrate on getting better for home. When you're out for an hour, you're getting into it, you're probably not getting anything better or technically efficient. But if you go 10 minutes and you rest a minute, you break up the brain, you reset it, and you can maybe battle better. That's how I see it. If your technique is really good, let's start talking about this long. Stevie or Kevin, these guys, right? Yeah, they can do long. So they're not going to create these, or they have the habits that are really good. And as the speed work comes up, boat speed comes up, try to maintain the strength, get closer to the race, start doing some lactic acid. One of the good workouts during the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks before your peak race are a minute on, a minute off, 7 times. High intensity. Take a 5-minute rest, easy paddling, do it usually by about 8 or 9 years old, if you're doing it right. Go under speed, any book you read on marathon running is explain this. Both sides. This is the gorge.
The gore? Oh!
The gorge. Picture a wave. You're in a river. You're going downwind, but you're going up. So everything stacks up. It gets really steep. So every wave is easy to get on, and you can ride it for. And it's the only race I do every year. The river section, there's different runs, and you get farther west. They're smaller. It can be 40-mile-an-hour, 30-mile-an-hour winds. They're smaller. It's not ever more than this big. You can learn how to do it. And then as you get a little better, you graduate to different parts of the river that get bigger. That's my favorite. What craft you get in, you're not changing. People are like, I paddle 1 man and swing 6 man, that way it's baloney. These are habits. You paddle the way you have. What you bend your top arm too much or something, in a 6-man, you're going to do it in a kayak, you're going to do it in a 1-man, you're going to do it in a stand-up. The difference between a 6-man and a 1-man is a 6-man. It's not working. So your time in the water is quicker, and the fact that you have to be so together is the whole one. How much time am I supposed to be with?
And I don't like it, but kind of utilize my legs in a way that doesn't.
Think of legs as a connection. Farther you go forward in most canoe, the sooner they drop in. The sooner they drop in, a lot of times the slower the top in. It's a trade-off. And everybody wants to get in a bucket. no hallucination. Look at people we got on the canoe and the Volare is a technical boat. It takes a while to learn. It's a late takeoff. You wait until you go. When you get it wired, it's awesome because you can really not put so much energy into it. So, but when you go in early, what happens is the bow drops down. And then it starts digging in the water a little bit. As soon as that boat, the bow starts digging in the water, you get more surface area. It's actually slowing. So you'll find, okay, if I want to get in early, you jump in, you get in early, but if you lean back, you get more. So like Ryland's now playing with being farther back in because he can time his takeoff. When he gets on the bump, he gains more volts.
Can't be moving.
It is a drill. Anything you want to change, the best way to learn any drill is in a one. Because you're not keeping timing, you're not racing the guys next to you, you're not whatever. So you can sit there and you go like this. Take your paddle, stick it in like this, and maybe it only went this far. You're like, that was a bad cat. Take it out of the water, clear your head. You go again, you go, well, that was all the way in, okay? You see if I can do that again. A couple times a week. What I would do is I would do this one a lot. I'll go once, okay, good, take it out, go in again, I would go in again. Okay, good, take it out. Third one, I would go in, I would take one stroke. And then I would analyze what I did during that stroke. What did I do with my arms? Did I pull too fast? Did I count? And after I did that three things, stop, clear my head, do it again. You're working on technique. Say I come next to you and I go, okay, move his top hand like you came too far, right? Went like this, and his top hand, and I said, okay, we're gonna fix your technique. Not so much. Reach out, okay, relax here. Okay, that's my spot. Take your top hand, look at it, check your head. Okay, it's supposed to be here. You check it yourself and put yourself in the right position, right? You put that paddle in, and if you take one nice stroke, you have to stop and reset your brain all over again to doing it. Because by 3 strokes, you will be back to your old technique. I guarantee you. So I haven't been anywhere in the world where that didn't happen. So if you want to get better, it's more. You want to talk about team boats? Want to get good at team boats? This is the stuff. Why is Tahiti back? Distance for stroke. What else? Anybody have any idea? First time they came and they won, everybody said because they were, it's flat. That's why they won. Next year they came, they smoked everybody in the surf. What they said? They're on drugs. Everybody they did it again. You know what they said? They came from the excuses. They paddle up to 4 times a day, about 4 hours a day sometimes. You're not paid to paddle. You make the team, Michelle, you get a job. Then your job is to paddle from 5 to 7, to go to work from 7:30 to 3:30, and then to paddle from 4 to 7. You pay. And then you get an easy job. So then you can work out from the training. But that's not why they're back. They have phenomenal technique and efficiency. And when you get them in a 6-minute, they're perfect. Everybody's hands are in the same spot if you're mostly. But more than that, their timing is flawless and everything. There's not one team in Hawaii that does that. That's why the dream is behind. So the way to get better at that is true. So I worked with data point women for about 10 years. The flat water, I would go out and say they were probably the fastest women's team. And what we do on a daily basis is drills. What is timing? People think timing is going in the water together. Timing is going in the water together and then everybody pulling at exactly the same time, the exact same distance at exactly the same pressure. And everybody's shaft doing exactly this at the same time through the whole stroke. Work on drills. If I see one blade here and one there at some point in the stroke, I stop it, we start again. We get here, come to here, and right at this point, everybody has to come on the water exactly at the same time. Exactly. And everybody in that boat has to be this, not like this. And that is half of time. Because then I look for exactly the same thing in the air from the back to the front. Synchronized. So Tahiti, you watch show. When they're on their game one year, they're flawless. Second place in Tahiti, timing or something's a little off. Third place, it gets a little more. It's only who's the cleanest. Drills. Anybody watch Shell as they go out to the start line? Doing this. As a team, practicing their ticket. I like the drill. I talked about this last. I like the drill where you stop in the back because everybody takes one stroke. Paddling is, especially with team, paddling is one stroke at a time. It's not more. You want to take one stroke that's so efficient, so good as if it's going to be only one. And when you're done with that one, you take another. That mindset you can finish. Data point last year beat Kalahoi Kai at the team from here. They were stronger in a lighter boat, surfed them, and younger. Data got what my speech was. And now with perfect timing, perfect technique, perfect mindset, and perfect changes, you have a chance. They're both in one of the ladies was 65 years old. She had perfect technique. I've watched them go at 42 strokes a minute and hit 8 miles an hour because everything was. This is practice. Races, you get excited, things start getting a little. This is how I work. This is timing. Talk a little bit about mindset. You think you're one of the better people on the boat, you're the problem. Your mentality is, I'm gonna go in there and watch me make this boat go fast, and you're the guy screwing it up. If the boat's not moving, go look in the mirror. Fastest teams I've ever been on were with Bruce Blankenfeld. I was afraid to get it. Don't screw it up. Oh, see that guy? That mindset is key. The whole team has that. Just want to listen more. 3, 2, 1, go in. Everybody comes forward, go in, they grab one stroke, they come back. And I'm looking for flawless from the back into the front, through, and then waiting in the back. And the waiting isn't, it's not this. Finishes. I'm looking for this, and I'm looking for everybody to let go of their energy and breathe and settle together and let the boat run. And I'm looking for the people that do this. They go here and they go this and they catch themselves. That's the person who wants to rush her. Somebody's back here and everybody starts to go and then they catch up in the air. Nope, that's a problem. Flawless. It's hard.
Part of that would be that, see, you're facilitating the pause, I'm saying your ladies do the pause in the back versus do the water recover out front.
We used to teach pause in the. I think it came from the K1s and the team boats we did. Australia, we were quick. Australia was quick. And you know, as that boat is moving fast, it's hard, it's quick, and everybody's like that, and they wait. It is much harder to have time when you wait in the front than when you have. Because when you wait back here together, you start in the air and you work your way together forward, and usually the catch and the timing is very good. It usually canes in. The second thing is you have momentum from here to the front. I'm not going to take a drum, go like this, wind up, and stop right before I hit that drum and hit it. And to me, that's the difference. Anything your coach says, it wasn't. You want to teach why you're doing that zone. And people understand and buy in, and they're not going to want to really do that. Or they will, but they won't. One thing I make sure I do is if one canoe is in front, they have to have a slower rate than the canoe. Anybody can bring up the rate and go for it. But if you can be in front and you got less strokes than everybody else, you're more efficient. And if you're pushing hard with that real low rate, like say, okay, we're going to do 42 strokes a minute. And don't get me wrong, data point, a lot of our training is between 44 and 42 strokes, maybe 46 strokes a minute. You know, 7, 5, 8 miles an hour. That's the goal. But if one person's ahead and their rate is that low, I know they're efficient. I know the rates are I want it to be. Heart rates are probably in the wrong spot. And sometimes you let it go and sometimes you. Or you even out the boats. I always like even boats.
You guys are just, that's like just in your training situation as you're going along. How would you describe that?
Different people teach different things. I teach easy in the back. Years ago, like Pathing Connections, some really fast teams, and Michelle was doing it. They kind of believed that at the end they would go easy at the end and they would kind of relax while they help the canoe in the back. That's part of the what. What I found with it is if you come in the back and you slow and you relax kind of in the back, we actually call it a hold. You're almost feeling like you're here and you're holding the water in the back until the very end. Like you ease up. A lot of times the timing in the boat gets way better. It doesn't, if someone's powering hard off the back and someone else isn't, or it's too hard or too fast, to screw the boat up. The whole goal is not to screw them. Especially when you get into light minutes. With a foot, you go hard off the back or too quick off the back, you're gonna rough that whole boat and slow down. So I teach soft and slow. And usually this is a couple of years of this before we leave. And then I have to learn how to teach power off the back from there. So when we come up on a second gear or chase a bump or something, that's when I want to see that water flying out the back. When I'm or not, I don't. Because I know it's fluid and smooth, right? That's what I teach. But to try to teach or learn how to power out the back and have timing when you're not totally clean and together, I guarantee you that boat will run. It's just too much, there's too much turbulence and things happening at the end for the boat to run. The key is everybody coming out and letting the boat go so that it will run. When someone's rough here or rough there, it just holds that boat. And then when you want to talk about this flying, like synchronization, that water off the back, when you get all this cleanness going and that timing is really good, you do to chase something, to chase that. But it's like a 2-stroke, it's a 2-change thing, and then you're back down. We have like 3 gears in travel pace or race pace up a little bit, which means more pressure, a little less time in the air. Rate comes up a tiny bit, and then that gear we're talking about. Most people, Next change, just go harder. Stroke rate comes up, boat gets rougher, goes a little bit faster for about one change, and then the boat was slower than it was before. That's what happened.
Can you expand upon your thought?
A lot of people think harder on the last change, give yourself some, run as you come over in the area. The boat's already running. Shorten the last one, gives you time to get a good course. I learned that from the Phoenicians. They do a lot of things really simply that we overthink. Yeah. My favorite seat, I grew up steering, but my stroking is my favorite seat because you don't have to go as hard. You're clean and way out there and doing your job or what. I like with arms and with strokers if we have the option. Because the stroker is the one that keeps the boat if he's too quick or too short. And this happens if you're too quick with the water, if the recovery is tense or quick or paused or rigid, it'll feel like their stroker is hot. So all of my strokers that have the time in the water that we need, with the most relaxed, fluid, and rhythm. With no jerky motions. That's my stroke. And then if it's in the bump, they got two seat to me is the most important seat. Sits off after goes off. Just like a stroke. Doesn't have to have the length on the arms. All they got to do is stand in the water the same amount of times a day. But if you're 2 seats off, half your boat's off. I said this in the last one. I never use a change chart. I've never seen the TV show. But if I have 3 good twos in a 9-man race, I always have some good. And I always have 2. So I want 2 good strokers and 3 good twos. And anytime I'm driving and I look back and it's a 1, 2, 4, there's always one of those. And if I have 12 people that are fast and 9 that are super fast, and out of that 9, there's not 3 strokers, somebody a little slower is going to come and make that be that 2 seat. Sorry, the 2 seat, because I know I need that seat. You cannot get away with a 2 seat in time. The boat won't. Racing is the captain. For us, steersmen don't talk. We try to do it as we can. 3 seat. Like the sound of the change tells the crew. Oh, the right paddle speed up. Okay, needs to go a little harder. Keep going hard till they go up. Hey, so it's the person who knows the water. Talk to the crew, not sound like fingers on the channel. Keep our seat usually, and I like to keep my weight 4, 2, 3. I like heavier. If I have to, and someone's not 2 and they're smaller, and 4 seats forward, that's plenty of engine room, right? And 5 seat, that's where you put all the junk. I am joking. That's 5 seat is the hardest seat. It's higher over the water. It's a little wider. If you're strong, you can pull harder in that seat than you can in any other seat, and you can actually push the pool. You got to make a change. You got to duck under 2 yacht pose seats. Lawrence Spalding, one of the best. I like her in 5 seat. She can push harder and not right. The farther back you get, the more you can push it without squeezing. And your steers quiet, paddles a lot, has perfect timing when they recover, which most steers will recover early. Never feel them. If you feel them jerk the boat or slow the boat, or you hear noise from that steering wheel, they're long. That's the silent person. And talk sometimes. So more I'd rather have 3 person.
What are some of the things you might want the 3 to be saying? What would you want to hear from the 3?
Not much. There's some conversations in this. Not fast ones. Do 5 pull-ups and talk to me while you're doing it. 3 seats going, hey gang, how's it going? Just start talking sentences. There's problems going on. Well, what I hear from the 3 seat is, hey, ready, let's go. There's a bump. Now, things are coming. Everybody relax. Just leadership. Minimum words leadership.